Yes.
So you're now in Charleston. You've had 2 weeks of worship. You're meeting with people, and tell me what's going on. Or I mean, what's it like 2 weeks into being a church planter on the field?
I told someone recently, I feel like I've jumped off a helicopter in Vietnam, and I'm running for my life and trying to survive without secretaries, without all of the wonderful help that was surrounding me in Douglasville.
Yes.
But I will say that God has already brought many worker bees and encouragers, and part of where we are now is me just trying to figure out who can do what. And but we're real encouraged. We've had a lot of interest. Our opening service, we had over 150 people. A lot of those came from out of town to support the work, to encourage us. But this past Sunday night, we had 70 people show up, and for our first sort of reality check about where we are very encouraged about all of the young families. This idea that young people do not want traditional Reformed worship is nonsense. That's mostly who we have in our core group, are people in their late 20s, early 30s, with no children or small children. And people that really, I think, Mel, at the end of the day, they just want to be discipled. They want to mature in the faith. They want to grow in their understanding of the whole counsel of God. And so that's our desire, is to carry out the Great Commission, to preach the gospel, to make disciples, to administer the sacraments, to baptize in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, see people converted, come into the church, and then to teach all that Christ commanded. And doing all of that with the wonderful promise that all authority in heaven and on earth belongs to Christ, and He will be with us always as we go through this process.
John, when you meet someone on King Street or Meeting Street, one of those lovely places in historic Charleston, and you're telling them about Christ Church Presbyterian, what's the first thing you tell them about your church?
Well, we tell them that I share with them the gospel-centeredness of the church, of course, that we are all sinners saved by grace, and we desire to share the love of Christ with the city and with individuals who we know need Him. Our desire is to disciple and to see, the Apostle Paul in Colossians chapter 1 said, "Him we proclaim," and what he said was, in that text, that he toils and struggles for the maturity of the believers. And I believe that mandate is upon every Christian minister. And so I share with them that we are serious about shepherding the flock, about true spiritual oversight, about true discipleship. We have a men's Bible study going on Thursday mornings, and we've been going for 2 weeks. And last week we had 13 men show up at 6:30 a.m. in the morning to study the book of Acts.
Eggs Up, I believe.
At the Eggs Up Grill.
That sounds
Mount
like
Pleasant.
In Mount Pleasant.
It is.
So and that's on Thursday mornings, in case you're watching.
That's right.
And what are y'all studying in your men's group?
Yeah, we're studying the book of Acts. We're doing an expositional study straight through the book, and we're using a wonderful text by Dennis Johnson, who is a professor of homiletics at Westminster
West. Yes.
And he's done a great job. It's part of the Let's Study series with the Banner of Truth. Let's Study Acts.
John, I would imagine a lot of your transition, you're probably doing a lot of different transitions right now, moving a family, setting up shop, getting the rudimentary things in place to do ministry. But you're also going from a very structured situation to an unstructured situation. You're creating new work routines, new lifestyle routines. How has that been? I imagine that's a big part of going from an established church and call to creating a new mission work.
It really is, Mel. And all the things that I had heard about church planting, the struggles I had heard that church planters had, I'm now living those.
Right.
We, at the moment, are renting a little place right downtown Charleston, and our children are sharing a room. But we wanted to have this initial experience to be right downtown in order to experience the city, to fall deeper in love with the city that needs the gospel. And we have neighbors all around us that we've been meeting and getting to know. We're excited to reach out to them.
I hear you have some celebrity neighbors, perhaps.
We'll leave that to the intrigue of the hearer.
There you go.